This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the week of January 11th, 2021. Buckle up, everyone. Take deep breaths and schedule downtime and calm and grounding for yourself. We are in a turbulent time of transition. We're going from last year to this year, from one administration in the United States to another, and yes, that does have an impact on the world at large, and we are going from one way of being to a new one, and we're still figuring out the ground rules for it. This is like the moment in an airplane when you're way up high in the sky and the pilot comes on and tells you to buckle up, and suddenly there's a terrific amount of turbulence in the air. You can't stop the turbulence, you simply must live through it. And the attitude that you have about it will determine whether you're sitting there white-knuckled or you decide to watch a video or read something or have a chat with the person next to you or simply shut your eyes and meditate. Last week brought the dramatic culmination of Mars, the warrior god's 6-month tour through his home sign of Aries, and his aggressive instincts took the extreme of men storming the U.S. Capitol. I've been saying since August, when he began squaring the planets at the end of Capricorn, that this square was like a battering ram against a castle door. And the final one in December, the door was groaning, groaning, groaning. And then when he hit 29 Aries and the last minutes of it, castle door opened. Mars is now in Taurus. It slid into Taurus the evening that that event took place. Mars is still prone to battle, but he's much more deliberate, protective of his turf, and more focused on money and resources than he is the thrill of expressing all that adrenaline and aggressiveness. I have a long discussion of the difference in the charts in my Astro-Insight group on Facebook. It's a closed group. You have to ask for admission and say how you found out about the group. So if you are in it, look for that post, and if you're not and you're genuinely interested, request admission to the group. This week is the aftermath of the last year, of the last number of years, of the unmistakable evidence and the realizations of just where we are. The week begins with an explosion of information and chat and talk and minds just flying everywhere. You can use this to start looking at things in terms of what more could I do to clean out your lens, to clean out your glass, to refill it. Mercury meeting bigger is better, Jupiter in Aquarius. You better believe people are going to be calling their friends, texting their friends, having meetings using technology, communicating with their friends, building networks, and exchanging information. And then the lightning bolts start. Shocking, startling information, epiphanies, ahas, stuff that knocks you upside the head, that opens you to even more possibilities. You think the news has been crazy? Just wait. On January 12th, Mercury is in the challenging aspect of a square to volatile, radical Uranus. At the same time, Venus is in a growth aspect to Jupiter. It's not going to be entirely comfortable. People are going to want indulgence. They're going to want something that maybe they can't quite get or maybe isn't comfortable for them to accept. So pulling this finally directly into the personal for you, it's easy to say what you want. It's easy to fantasize about what you want. Sometimes it's difficult to actually accept the getting of what you want. There's an element of that with Venus in a semi-sextile to Jupiter, also on the 12th. Then comes one of the action-packed days of the month. Yes, there are many. And this one gives us something to hang on to, gives us a point of grounding. And I'm going to suggest to you that your best place for your anchor is in yourself. The new moon in Capricorn on the 13th is at the very degree that Pluto occupied at the solstice, we are launching new goals, moving ahead up a mountain in a direction that was pretty clear to us by the solstice. A lot has cleared out in your life. A lot has been revamped. You have a new and streamlined set of priorities. And this new moon says, get going. Warrior god Mars in Taurus is squaring the moon's ruler, Saturn. This is frustrating energy. It is slamming yourself against a wall, trying to make something give. It's 1 foot on the brake, 1 foot on the accelerator. There's a lot of forced action and also resistance to the action or containment to the action. You may find yourself pushed either internally or by outside circumstances to get moving already on your personal to-do list or to set your goals for how you're going to proceed this year. Some of those may shift suddenly on the turn of a dime. Some of them may shift quite suddenly. Some of them may break open quite suddenly. You might have astonishing breakthroughs of the heart involving money, probably involving money, resources, finances. Venus, the ruler of everything we value and also our social mode, is flowing with the change. She's trining radical Uranus. Again, what do you want, and do you really have the wherewithal in you to accept it? This may make it possible for you to do it. This stretch brings, involves, demands, requires, facilitates intense personal growth and evolution. The sun is merging with Pluto. The new moon was with Pluto. We are focused, and how priorities are extremely limited, refocused, narrowed, sharpened. Our sense of our identity has undergone a massive change. This is butterfly coming out of the cocoon moment. This is cold, unapologetic energy, steely-eyed, calculated. You know who you are with a clarity that has been building over all of last year. Somehow you get the graduation certificate for the personal implications, personal ramifications of all of last year. This aspect is exact on the 14th, and it coincides with Uranus ending his retrograde. This started in mid-August last year, right about when Mars started inspiring, ramming the castle doors. Uranus is one of the major players of this year. Jupiter and Mars are going to have contacts with him next week. Saturn starting in February. An alarm is going off in the distance as I'm recording this. How appropriate! It's time to start addressing, confronting, dealing with different ways of approaching money, the economy, resources, creativity, probably even food. The contacts to Uranus throughout the year are going to break us from previous ways of doing things and inspire very innovative approaches. There will be a sense of whiplash. There may be a lot of startlement, of feeling like you have, in fact, been hit upside the head. And this really starts building by the weekend on the 17th. Jupiter completes his square or demand for action to Uranus. Jupiter's a guy who ups any of the action he gets near. I encourage embracing the air-clearing potential of this square with questions like, how does this benefit me? And what's another way of looking at this? I have a lot more about all of this in my forecast for the month of January and also in my guide to Uranus and Taurus, which is in the shop at my site. And there will be more in the forecast for the Capricorn new moon, which will be up by the 12th and possibly. Homing thought of the week, Open My Eyes. Song of the week, from that cheesy disaster film, The Poseidon Adventure, There's Got to Be a Morning After, sung by Maureen McGovern. And the image of the week, well, there are two and they're related. One is lightning striking and breaking chains. The other is the Tower in the tarot. You'll find more about all this, not just in the resources I previously mentioned, but also in my discussion about the gear shift from 2020 to 2021 and lots about Uranus and Taurus in a radio interview with Melissa Caprio on her Times radio show, Postcards from the Universe. There's a link down below for that. And also in my talk about the December 2020 solstice and overview for 2021, which is available at my site, empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list and get a Jupiter and Aquarius guide as a download as a thank you, and book a session with me. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 30 years' experience. I oversee lively discussion on Facebook at Empowerment Unlimited and the group The Astro-Insight Lounge. I have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, and I am really grateful to the people who have stayed with me there and supported my work. I post on Instagram at @KABiehl and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian channel. Talk to you next week.